This one shows the surface visibility and surface winds and precipitation. Let's see if I can. So we can see here, like the shaded boxes, it shows you if it's IFR or you have high surface winds. The shading indicates visibility from 0 miles all the way up to 5 plus. And lastly, these color dots show rains, rain or snow. In this case, we can see there's a chance of rain to likely rain. And these wind barbs show just wind and direction. So you can think of the barbs as the feather of an arrow. And we can see here the long barb is 10. So just this one, if you zoom in on it, is 20 knots gusting 30. All right, now we're on to the TAFs, or terminal aerodrome forecasts. So for this one, again, you want to note if you can, if your departure has a TAF, note it. Note some TAFs en route, your destination, and lastly your alternate. So Reed Hillview doesn't have a TAF. The closest one is San Jose, so we're gonna note that one. And make sure you note down the one appropriate to your time of departure. So since we're gonna be leaving at 22 for 30, I'm gonna look at the one that is. So I'm gonna look at a TAF that's the weather forecast that's much worse. So there's this one, and there's one that's half an hour later. So we're gonna look at this one, and you can see that the wind falls, but the visibility also falls, as well as the ceiling. So you can tell that weather is getting worse. But let's go ahead and write it down. So I would write down wind 170.75 statute miles, rain and mist, and broken 3,000. Livermore, that's in the wrong direction. Salinas, is en route because when we flying over, we're gonna go ahead and write it down. And we can see it. The wind is 160 at 7.6 statute miles visibility. Rain, light rain again, and overcast 2,500. And what you'll notice that's nice about 1800wxbrief is it actually highlights the part of the TAF that you should worry about. And how close you are to a weather change. As you can see up here, it says this is what it is at departure. Half an hour later, it's going to become this. All right, we're going to skip over Monterey. And we actually have San Luis Obispo first, but I'm going to go look at Paso Robles first because that's our destination. It's telling us we can expect winds 200 at 8, 6 miles visibility, 6+ miles visibility, showers in the vicinity. Yeah. And scattered clouds at 2,500. Overcast 5,000. And for San Luis Obispo, we fall in between 2100Z and 0300Z. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this one down. So we have winds 230 at 7, 6+, showers in vicinity, and scattered clouds at 2,500, broken 5,000. So similar to what you see at Paso Robles. So here we have winds aloft. So we're going to look at our closest weather stations and see what we got. Yes, and since I know the area very well, I'm going to know that when we depart and get to our cruising altitude, our winds aloft at SFO will be 248 at 24 knots. And as we continue on, we're going to be passing by Fresno, and that will be 193 at 9. And for departure, since we're climbing from a field elevation near sea level up to 5,500, we'll want to note some winds aloft values in between. So let's just say, let's do 3,500. The winds will be 241 at 23. And as we fly along, we're eventually going to have to descend. So we're going to have to do the same thing for when we get to Paso Robles. We're going to write down some winds in between as well. So we'll write 3,500 and winds are there are 193 at 9. Convective outlooks show you the chance of a severe thunderstorm. Our road of flight is down here, so we're not going to be hitting a thunderstorm. And here we have departure NOTAMs. So if we're going to be flying VFR, we're not going to be too worried about these obstruction NOTAMs. You don't need to focus too much on it. I don't know if this is a day VFR flight, but at night, you want to look out to see if there's any unlit objects so you're aware of it. There's so here destination NOTAMs is telling us that the Paso Robles VOR or VORTAC is unserviceable, meaning it's unreliable at this point because if something's wrong with it, they're not able to fix it as of now. And right now we have the 5 radio altimeter NOTAM due to the 5G NOTAM. So right now, auto land doesn't work, but we don't need to worry about it because we don't have that feature. Ultra wants to talk about San Luis Obispo. We have that obstruction NOTAM. If this is a day VFR flight, we're not too concerned about it. And this one is it's not too critical, but we'll just note it. So runway 11 visual slope indicator is unserviceable. And these NOTAMs right here at your destination en route and departure should be noted down if it's a critical one. Here's some instrument flight rules, NOTAMs. Since we're flying VFR, we can go ahead and ignore these. So just talking more navigation NOTAMs, such as the VORs being out or GPS NOTAMs. And since we're flying VFR, we don't need to worry too much about these. But if you're going to be using VOR navigation for long portions of a flight, then we'll need to take it more seriously. But these ones right here, I see don't apply to us because we're not using those nav aids, or we're not going in that direction. Obstructions, more obstruction NOTAMs. And there's some en route NOTAMs talking about parachute jumping, unmanned systems. Yeah, some of these don't apply to us really, like the unmanned systems there since they're so low to the ground. Parachute jumping, yeah, that one you can note it. Okay, so there's more instrument flight NOTAMs. We can go ahead and ignore those. I'm just going to skip through all this. Military NOTAMs, you can usually skip it. International NOTAMs, you can skip over that. Uncategorized NOTAMs, which is the UAS. It tells you where they're operating and their altitude. And that is the end of the weather briefing. And the reason we do a weather brief is, one, to become familiar with all available information for making a flight. Two, you have a physical record that you did a weather briefing, because when you saw at the beginning, we gave them our tail number and we gave them our route. So they have a way to track down that we did a weather briefing. So if something does happen en route, they can't blame us for not checking the weather because we have a record of it right now. In the next episode, we're going to use the data we just collected to make a flight plan. And in that flight plan, we're going to go ahead and calculate fuel consumption, as well as ground speed, because those are critical numbers we're going to need to make sure we can successfully make this flight.